Welcome everyone to Unit Masters program. It's our 6 weeks blockchain fundamentals course. We are in week 2 of the 6th cohort of Unit Masters. And this week we speak about the ecosystem from a bird's eye perspective. And today we have with us Emily, who will share her perspective on blockchain brand narratives. This is super important to understand when you want to navigate the ecosystem and kind of don't know yet where to start up and where to look into the field. About Emily, we invited Emily because she's like really a rock star and one of the shapers in the fields of marketing and also in the fields of blockchain meets sustainable development goals. She has more than 10 years of marketing experience, majorly focused on blockchain and cryptocurrency. She worked at Bitcoin.com, at Liquid, at OKEx exchange, and she's a marketing advisor for a lot of really, really cool projects, in particular in the social impact field. She works with different projects, smaller and a bit larger, and I hope, Emily, you can share a few of them because I don't know how many of them are like in which confidentiality stage. And she's also open to answer any questions about how do you actually enter the crypto ecosystem? How do you find your sweet spot? So very excited to hear and learn from you, and don't anybody here in the room, please don't shy away from asking questions to our wonderful speaker.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Yip. Can everybody hear me okay? Yep.
Yes.
Yes, brilliant. And can you see my screen okay?
We do.
Great. So today we're going to be speaking about blockchain brand narratives. So before we get into it, thank you so much, Yip, for the great introduction. Before we get straight into the brand narratives part of it, I want to just quickly introduce myself, kind of how I entered the crypto space, why I'm still in the crypto space primarily. So let me just skip to the next slide. I'm using the Mentimeter and it's kind of new to me, but it's really cool. So I wanted to try it out with you guys. So it all started with coffee. About 6 years ago, I was taking a break. I had been working in the tech industry since I'd started my marketing career. I was pretty burnt out. And as you can imagine, in the tech industry, it moves as quickly as the crypto industry. And I just needed a break. So I was taking 6 months off to chill. I was in Bali, I was in Thailand, and then I came back to my hometown in Saltburn, which is where I'm at now for a few weeks. And in that time, I realized that one of my passions, and it always has been, is learning about coffee, learning about the farmers, learning about the import and export, and really understanding kind of the whole ecosystem. And so I was in contact, I was on Twitter, as everybody kind of was back then. I was in contact with a coffee collaborative in Bogota, and they were working to bring better ethical practices in Bogota to the coffee industry. They were helping each other because in Bogota, it's kind of similar to Africa. They work as communities. They wanted to bring the community aspect to the coffee industry and help everybody support each other, a bit like a cooperative. So I was their marketing advisor, so I was doing it pro bono, just like really enjoying learning about the company. And I literally did it just to learn more and to kind of see whether this is an industry that I might want to work in the future, because I was trying to get out of the tech industry. And whilst I was doing that, I got an email from a guy, and his name was Matt and his email was bitcoin.com. I was like, okay, I didn't think anything of it. Heard about Bitcoin. I'd obviously been in Bali and everywhere in like 2014, 15, and everybody was speaking about crypto. And he said, oh, hey, I'm looking for a marketing manager. The guy at the coffee place is my bestie. He said that you're doing a really great job and we really need help marketing. So that's how it all started, really. That's how I got into the Bitcoin.com world. I helped out on the Bitcoin.com podcast, and then I moved more into a marketing manager role, and it all kind of blew up from there. And Bitcoin.com was like my entire life for the next like 1.5, 2 years.
Maybe it would be great also to share what is Bitcoin.com, because that might not be like a bell in a lot of people's head.
Actually, I have a slide on this. Don't worry. I'm going to explain the Bitcoin.com brand. So I was paid in cryptocurrency. I had no idea what to do with that. So there was a huge onboarding, like an employee onboarding process where you had to encrypt all your emails. You had to learn how to use an exchange, all that kind of stuff. And you just learn the ropes as you do it, kind of thing. And Bitcoin.com was the best thing that ever happened to me, really. It was after moving from the coffee industry into crypto. So that's how I started out in crypto officially. And then 6 years later, I am now the head of product marketing for AAX, which is a crypto exchange in Hong Kong. I spend most of my days helping my team to make the right decisions when it comes to product marketing, making the products more sellable, giving feedback to the product teams, and really indulging in our users and making sure that we know our users inside out. So that's me now. So that was 6 years ago. So if anybody has any questions at all, please just drop them in the chat and I'll come back to all of them at the end. So let's jump into brand narratives. So to understand what I mean by brand narratives in the ecosystem, we first need to understand the users and we need to understand the products. And these are the parts that make it a meaningful experience for people. So first of all, to create a brand narrative, you need to understand the users in the crypto industry. These user types are really typical for all of the crypto products. Everybody kind of has this generic user type list in their head, and it's up to the people in the teams, in the product teams, in the marketing teams to kind of pull them apart and decide who they're trying to build products for and who they're trying to attract. I'll quickly go through them so you understand kind of who are the players in this space, or who are we serving. So to start with, and this is probably where you guys are at, you're the beginner phase. These people are completely new to crypto. They're the people who have seen it in the news, they've seen it on social media. They may have been looking at their savings and wondering, can I afford to buy a bit of Bitcoin? But they're not quite sure why, right? So they're at that stage. They've probably seen it all over LinkedIn. They might have started listening to podcasts. They might have even been shown an ad, and now they have they have an exchange account. These guys still don't really know what they're doing. They might not know what Telegram is, for example, and they might not know what Discord is. I mean, not many people do if you're in the tech space. And you'll probably find these people on LinkedIn or Facebook, like the traditional social media websites. They may or may not have bought crypto yet. They might have seen it on PayPal and like bought it, and now they're like, what do I do with my crypto? And that's your beginners. These are the ones who need to be shaped and molded, and they really need their hand holding when it comes to a crypto product. So the next user type is a crypto curious. So these are people who are not necessarily looking to invest. These are people who have started their own research. They may have signed up to a few podcasts, or not signed up, but they may have downloaded a few podcasts. They might have started looking at crypto courses, so maybe like similar to Unit Masters, and just really looking to absorb all the information they can, because they're at the stage where they need to understand what they're doing before they can take an action. These are the people who frequently pop up in my DMs asking if it's worth buying Bitcoin because they want to know from someone who's already been in it. But these are also the people who are very valuable to the products in the space, because they also are at the very beginning, and you can mold them however you want, really. You can pull them into a marketing funnel and you can help them with their journey into crypto. So that's crypto curious. And then we've got crypto investors. So these are the people who self-manage their assets. They're people who are looking to diversify their portfolio. They most likely have got a portfolio in the traditional finance sector. They maybe have property, and now they're kind of just looking to diversify their portfolio. They may or may not know how to use any of the crypto products in the ecosystem, but they're just trying to find the easiest route in. They will have gone through the crypto curious stage, and they are probably past the beginner stage because they're already in the investing industry. And now they just need to find the right product for them. And to them, UX, user experience, is the most important attribute, and customer support. So these are the guys that know what they're doing, but they need the right product. And then we've got our traders. So these are the guys who are sat on the exchanges. The retail traders, you've probably heard this term before. These are the guys who are new to trading or experienced in trading. They know what they're doing. They know an order form. They know about spot trading. They maybe know margin trading, or they maybe know advanced trading like futures. They only tend to use a certain amount of products. They don't spread themselves all over everywhere. And the maximum they'll trade a month is 5 million USD in volume. So they're not the huge big traders, but they trade a modest amount, and they may they probably don't do this for a living. They're not professional traders. But for a product team or the products in the ecosystem, they are so great at giving feedback to customer support. They're very active in crypto communities, and retail traders really are the ones who help with the liquidity. They're the ones who help with the volume in the industry. These are the guys that you want on using your products. And then you've got the advanced traders. These are super experienced traders. They probably do it for a living. They are either hedge fund managers, wealth managers, family offices, or they might just be pro traders themselves. They usually code their own strategies. They maybe, they most likely don't interact with the UI of products. So they have multiple exchanges linked together with an API key, and this helps them to perform multiple trades all at once. So these guys are B2B clients, and they have VIPs. So exchanges treat them like they're super VIPs because they're the ones who kind of will make or break the exchange. Same goes for institutional, similar kind of guys. Hedge funds, they trade up to hundreds of millions of dollars a month. They're a VIP client, and exchanges will rely heavily on these guys for the majority of their revenue. Whether that's a good thing or not, I am not going to comment. And then we've got the crypto degens. So this is kind of a new term, actually. It's come out during the whole DeFi boom. These guys are everywhere, right? They are all in the community, in all the different communities. They don't tend to have a loyalty anywhere, and they're in it to flip tokens for high returns. They know what they're doing, and they don't really need any help, but they're really great at engaging in communities, and they're not shy to give any feedback. So they're the user types. Again, if you've got any questions on user types, please drop them in the notes. That'd be great. And these are the people that the crypto industry is building their brand narrative for. So that was a lot of information, I know, but we can go back through everything. So as I promised, Jip, a bit about Bitcoin.com. So now we've thought about all the users in the space. Now we want to think about the big brands in the space and why they're a brand. So Bitcoin.com is known to have a mission, and their mission is peer-to-peer electronic cash for everyone, or for the world. And they basically wanted to create the future of the world, basically, in the economy, where they wanted everybody to transact in crypto, basically. So I'll go over how they kind of built that brand and how people kind of saw them back in like 2017. So in 2017, well, maybe 2016 too, Bitcoin.com's business on the outside people really didn't know what they did. But they did know that they were led by a well-known OG in the space. He was notorious for pushing Bitcoin Cash as a P2P asset. No one could really pinpoint what they do, but everybody knew who they were. They were the guys at the events. They had like the platinum sponsors. They were everywhere doing all the banner ads. Like, so if you were on any kind of crypto aggregator or any kind of crypto news site, Bitcoin.com had their banner ads there. So they're really great at marketing. Their brand narrative and mission was, and I think it still is, peer-to-peer electronic cash for everyone. But the underlying narrative was really freedom for everyone through crypto. And back when I joined Bitcoin.com, it was like this magical place, and it was full of cypherpunks, libertarians, economists, like amazing speakers. And all these guys were literally just trying to build this like ideal future of like a decentralized economy, and kind of taken away, it's like the idealistic view of crypto, taking away the control from the government, building their own kind of economy, community. And Bitcoin Cash was that tool for them to do that, and they were building everything around it. So in my eyes, they are the true OGs of crypto. Lots of people will disagree with me on that, but that's just my experience. And if you haven't already read Digital Gold by Nathaniel Popper, this will help you to understand Bitcoin.com. It will help you to understand the beginnings of the kind of the crypto industry, and why it's so ideological, and why it meant so much to a lot of people. So this was Bitcoin.com, the brand. However, they also had really cool products that not many people realized unless they were like talking to the guys every day. They had real use cases, they had real users. I think we had 2 million downloads of the wallet. So they had a really easy to use wallet. They had a faucet, which is, I don't think it's a thing anymore, where you get given free crypto. So you literally put your email in, or you put your address in, and they send you free Bitcoin Cash. Like, I don't think that's a thing, but that was really, that was a tool that everybody used back in the day. I think Edge Wallet had it as well, to kind of stimulate people to own crypto. They had mining function, like their mining function was their biggest product at the time when mining was profitable, and then they moved into cloud mining. And they had a really cool e-commerce store, and the e-commerce store was like the cool brother of Bitcoin.com. They sold merchandise that everybody used to wear at all the big events. Like, we all had like multiple Bitcoin.com t-shirts, and they were the place to buy hard wallets. So they were like one of the most reliable distributors of ledgers and Trezor. So you're probably wondering, why am I talking about Bitcoin.com, the brand? Well, as you move into the ecosystem and more into your journey within crypto and blockchain, you'll notice that it's extremely common to have brands and people pushing marketing towards you. And when you look deeper into it, there's really nothing there. They're just lots of fluff, lots of smoke and mirrors. And Bitcoin.com was a solid company with amazing marketing that really was the beginning of the crypto industry, and like having a brand and a product. Whereas now you've got lots and lots of brands who have great brand narrative, but they have no substance whatsoever. So you'll find this more and more. When you're researching products in the space, it's so important to research the projects really, really thoroughly. You want to look at their ideology, their mission, you want to look at the team, you want to look at their token and their white paper, and then you really want to look at the products. Like, are these products going to be here in the next 3 to 4 years, for example? And that's what's important. So that was just kind of like to highlight that these brands are out here, but some of them are not what they kind of look like they are. So after Bitcoin.com, what else is out there? So I want to show you quickly what else is in the ecosystem, and then we'll go into the brand narratives that they use. So I hope everybody can see this image. One moment. Can you just tell me if you can see the image or not?
Nope. I see a purple blank screen.
One moment. It's having a bug. One moment. Not quite sure why it doesn't show up. I'll quickly do a summary, if that's okay with you, and then I can send the image afterwards, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so to summarize the current products in this space, I'm sorry that it's not visualized. There is exchanges such as Bitcoin.com's rebranded, so we'll take them out of the list. Liquid.com, Binance, you've probably heard of. There is Crypto.com, Coinbase. So all of these big brands in the space. Then we've got wallets like Edge Wallet. We've got Bitcoin.com wallet. We've got hard wallets like Ledger. We've got POS solutions, so merchant solutions like BitPay, coin payments, etc. We've got trading tools such as Quadancy, they're for automated trading. We've got launch pads like DAO Maker, so they're people who help tokens to get a better reach. And then we've got the savings. You've probably seen savings coming up recently. Savings products like BlockFi, Compound, these are people who you invest in and they help you to monetize your money. So we've got multiple different products in this space, and I will send this slide to you. I'm really sorry that it's not showing up. We've also got mining, actually, which is actually in the news at the moment, because if you all if you've ever heard of Bitmain are the people who build the machines to mine Bitcoin or crypto in general, and they're actually moving out of China now after the most recent news of China making crypto illegal. So they're really interesting company to follow. But I'll send all of this information afterwards. But all of these products in the space, in the ecosystem, all kind of move around each other. Everybody, all of the user types that I showed you before, they dip into all of these different products at certain parts in their life, certain parts in their user life cycle. And also, there are big businesses such as Crypto.com who take a lot of these products and put them into one. Binance is also one of these guys. So they take trading, they take automated trading, they take mining, they take savings, they take launch pads, and they put them all into one product. So you'll see this happening quite frequently. But these are the primary products that are currently used by the users in the space. Now, what are the underlying brand narratives of all of these products? It'll probably be a shock or not that it's very similar for all of them. And this is for a really good reason. They want to be secure, safe, and reliable. So if you go, and like you can do this afterwards, you go and have a look at all these different products and brands, and you have a look in their about page, or you have a look at their headers or their missions, and they'll all have this similar sentence. They want to be secure, safe, and reliable. Because at the end of the day, all that matters when you're dealing with other people's money is that you're going to take good care of it. And that's all that people care about at the end of the day. Because if you've got big traders on an exchange, they want to know that their money is not going to be hacked and disappear. If you've got people in a wallet, keeping money in a mobile wallet, they want to know that people can't hack the wallet. Savings, you deposit for a fixed amount of time. You don't have control of that money at that period of time. They want to know that you're secure, safe, and reliable, and that you won't have downtime. So they'll be able to access your product at any time. So this is the underlying brand narrative, and it's really important. Everybody in the space and all the brands that I work with have this in different ways trickled through their brand narrative. And based on everything that we've discussed so far, the users, the products, the brands, it all works towards creating meaningful experiences in the space. It all kind of comes together. So let me move ahead. Yes, so now we've covered everything. We've covered the users, we've covered the products, we've covered the big brands. We want to look at how these people, these products, these teams create meaningful experiences. And they do this by solidifying the brand narrative of being safe, secure, and reliable. So we'll use the centralized exchange like Crypto.com as an example throughout this. To give you a bit of a vision, so you have an exchange, you're a beginner user. So if we think back to the list of users, you're a beginner user. You want to buy crypto. You've had a look around, you've done a bit of research, and you want to buy crypto. You've probably Googled, where's the best place to buy crypto? And most likely you've ended up at Binance or Crypto.com or Coinbase because they have great SEO and really great ads. So you've probably ended up at the sign up page and you're like, okay, how do I know if this is a good place to be? You have a look around, you read their narrative, and within that narrative, there'll be something about safe, secure, and reliable. And you're like, okay, yes, I saw that in their ad, I saw that in their SEO meta tags. let's stay here. I know that this is a good place to be. So that's how the meaningful experience starts. So then, and most important to me as a product marketer, is giving the user the best onboarding experience ever. They need to have a meaningful experience, at the very start of their journey to stay with us, because retention is always my number one goal when it comes to product marketing in the crypto industry. So once a beginner has decided to buy Bitcoin, they've ended up on the exchange now, or they might need to download the app, they need to sign up. And that's my number one pain point when it comes to creating a meaningful experience. Make it easy. People don't want to have to do multiple verification emails. They don't want to have to do 2FA app sign up. Make it easy. So most of these products you'll find have taken note and they've started to optimize their sign up process. So once they've gone through sign up, it's time to personalize. So based on all of the user experience, the user types that we see at the start of the deck, we can segment from the very, so in terms of marketing, you can segment your experience to create it more meaningful for the user from the very start. So as a product marketer, we start to give them personalized marketing. We push them towards content that'll help them. So for a beginner, to keep the brand narrative solidified of it being safe and secure, we help them to set up 2FA, which is like the authentication system. We help them to verify their identity through KYC. And then we help them to learn how to use each product. And this all works towards solidifying the brand narrative and creating a meaningful experience. So all through the onboarding journey is focused on giving each user type the experience that's personalized for them that'll keep them on the platform for as long as possible. And we just do this over and over again. And you'll find that if you've provided an experience that, one, solidifies the brand narrative, and two, gives them the tools that they need to use the product, you will keep that user. And so all of the ecosystem, all of the products in the space are striving to get this equation right. Every single exchange I've worked with, every single project I've worked with, all have this same issue of how do we keep the user, because there's so many options, there's so much uncertainty. People are really influenced by the media, they're really influenced by the market movements. How are we going to give them a meaningful experience and make sure they feel safe and secure at all times? And that's how it all starts. So we want to make sure we've always got easy to understand copy. If you have a look around in the ecosystem, when I'll send you the image, you'll see that a lot of the mainstream exchanges and wallets have really easy to understand content, like you know why you're there. They have academies, they have courses. Their UI, like their user interface, is really distraction free. You'll go onto there and you won't think about doing anything else. You'll just take the action that they want you to take. They'll pull you into email and push notification series. And sometimes, as you maybe know, if you have your own customer support team, customer support is put under a lot of strain in the crypto industry, and it's very difficult. It's a very difficult job to hire for, actually, in the crypto industry, because you need very technical customer support staff. So it's actually as a product marketer, it's my responsibility to take the burden off the customer support team and provide each user segment with the tools they need to use the product, so they're not bombarding support with how do I KYC, how do I 2FA, all this kind of stuff. And it's also worth noting that we've done kind of a 360 in the crypto space. As we're moving more towards automation in the tech industry as a whole, the crypto industry, as much as we like to be very advanced and ahead of everybody else, we actually like to be handheld. So I have been testing a few different methods of this within the product marketing and with our users. So when I was at Liquid, I built a white glove experience, kind of like a concierge service, I guess, if you've got a concierge. And when a B2B user, so a VIP, an institutional, like a family office or a hedge fund, wanted to join Liquid, we gave them the best experience and the most easy experience possible. They didn't have to lift a finger. They literally put their email address, a requirement in a form, and that was it. We reached out to them, we got them on Zoom calls, we gave them an account manager. We made everything so simple that they didn't even have to worry about setting up accounts, because these guys set up multiple accounts every month. And actually, the crypto space really benefits from this white glove experience. It helps them to feel special in such a saturated market. It helps them to understand the business. It helps them to befriend, or maybe not befriend, but build relationships with the team, because then they feel comfortable giving you the best feedback. And they also really require a lot of technical support as well. So you build a big relationship with these B2B guys, and they're actually your biggest users. And this applies to exchanges, wallets, automated traders, miners. So the ecosystem really relies on these big guys, and it all comes down to creating this whole meaningful experience for everyone from day one. And that's basically understanding the user type is your key to success. I hope that all made sense. We'll move into the question and answer in a minute. Just to summarize, if a product in crypto creates that first meaningful experience using personalization, finding real product market fit, and enacting their brand narrative, then they're head and shoulders above everybody else. This is what they need to be doing to stay afloat in the industry. So that's it from me. I hope that made sense, and I would love to answer all of your questions. Let me just stop sharing a minute.
Yes, this was really, really wonderful. We invite experts from the field to not only share theoretical or professional expertise, but also the assessment from a personal point of view. I would love to actually ask you to maybe also critically assess the kind of current strategies of the exchanges and so on in terms of optimizing for meaningful experience. What's your view towards it? Where do we need to be a bit aware if you were to shape the industry in the way you wanted to shape it? What would you do differently?
So, and this all depends on the positioning of the exchange. So as a product marketer, I spend a lot of time positioning and differentiating, and you'll find that the exchanges are bucketed into different areas. So you've got the majority of Asian exchanges who don't go for personalization. They'll go for mass products. So they'll try and cram everything in to one product. This works and it doesn't work. So Binance, for example, have nailed it. They've done it really, really well. However, you can get smaller exchanges or newer exchanges, and they try and kind of copy Binance, and doesn't kind of work. So what I suggest is, and the ones who are doing it well, like crypto.com, they have white glove service, they have B2B services, they have really, really simple, multiple onboarding flows. These are the guys that you want to be looking at for inspiration of how to do it well. Liquid, for example, only because I built it, but Liquid do such a great job, and they're still carried on doing such a great job. But Binance, you can get a really great experience in terms of products, not necessarily in terms of user experience. Crypto.com, you get the products and the user experience, I would say.
Thanks. Before we go into Q&A, would love for you to share also your insights from.
We've broken up a little bit.
You share some examples of projects you're working on in the impact field, so that we can also understand how do we use these marketing techniques to rock social impact projects.
Brilliant. Okay, so I recently was the interim CMO for Green Heart. And so we did a 3-month project with these guys to kind of get their team set up and have their marketing moving forward. So that was what I was working on with them. And they are a CBD company. They are based in Ireland, and they have many farms. They've got a research center. They've got like a huge setup. And they are working to fund other farmers around the world using their token. So it's quite simple tokenomics. So basically, if you buy their token, you can effectively be funding the farmers. So by putting your money into a, I'm trying to make it really simple terms, putting your money into a pool, they use that money that's staying there to fund the farmers, and the farmers kind of have an exact same business model set up as Green Heart. So they know that it works. And then Green Heart personally get the farm set up, they help them to optimize what they're doing. And it's kind of like a full circle. So they're just giving money back, and they're instead of like granting them, they're giving them micro loans. So it's like the micro funding economy, a bit like Whole Food Planet. They do a micro funding for like different places around the world. It's the kind of the same concept. And I was just really interested in that part of it. So when I first heard CBD, I was like, I don't know anything about the CBD industry, but I do know about tokenomics and microfunding and that kind of thing. So they're doing really cool things to kind of bring a better life to farmers and get them a better pay. So they're working towards having more ethical practices around the world, like Brazil, Philippines. I think they're working on a project. And they're just really cool guys who are really, really passionate. So we did a 3-month project with them, and then whenever they need advice or whatever, they'll pop in and out.
Thanks. And
yes.
Oh, you want to share more?
Yeah, I've also, I just love, so social impact is my passion. So I can work in crypto, I can work as crypto for my like day job and do all this fun stuff, but social impact is like really what gets me up every single day. But I want that social impact to be in the crypto industry too, because I love crypto as well, and crypto's been my life for like the past nearly 7 years now. Another project I'm working with is called Click World, and they are based in Uganda. Long story short, I met their founder through a mutual friend in Vietnam. I used to live in Saigon, and he was, one day we had coffee, and he's like, you know, crypto, my dad's in crypto. He's been in crypto, or he's been building DLT technology for the past like 15 years. He was doing it before blockchain even was mainstream and stuff. I was like, really? Are you sure? Yes. So he introduced me to his dad, who's like an amazing guy. He's like genius kind of scientist type guy who's got an amazing story. And I actually am going to try and convince him to come on to Unit Masters and have a chat. But he's built a whole ecosystem for the African communities to help the communities to, I'm trying to explain it in a very, because this is what I'm working on. I'm working on the brand narrative for them. So he's basically built the WeChat of Africa on like a decentralized version on the Stellar blockchain. So to break it down, you've got communities in Africa who are fully decentralized. They don't really work with each other. They don't really trade with each other. They don't send money to each other. They're very much their own communities. So you might have 400 to 1,000 people in a town or a village, and they transact with each other on a daily basis. And none of them have bank accounts. They have no way to KYC. They have no way to get money from across the border. They have no way to learn how to monetize their products and all that kind of stuff. So there's lots of use cases. ClickWorld has built an ecosystem that supports all of those problems and use cases. So for example, I'll think of the most easiest product, the Click Wallet. People in that community set up their own wallet for their savings to send money to each other and to buy, for example, fertilizer. So everybody can kind of put all their money together, or tokens, like they can use Clicks tokens, and then they can purchase fertilizer on a decentralized marketplace that they all know how to use and they all have access to. And then they can sell that fertilizer cross border to another community who also has got a Click wallet, and they can be paid in the Clicks token or the Stellar token or XLM, for example. So he's built this huge ecosystem, and it's all working in practice. And he doesn't obviously do any marketing because it's all on the ground BD, working with the community leaders, but he's built it and it's working and it's amazing. And now the next step is to raise funds to do it more. And he's going to do a token launch, for example. And my kind of job is to get them to, I need to package it for the global market, because as you may or may not know, you have the diaspora around the world. So the African communities around the world who need to support their community back home in Africa. So for example, the grandma in Africa can go to the grocery store. She can send a QR code to her son in London. He can pay instantly. So that's what the setup. So that's what I'm working on. So these kind of things are like so exciting, and they can work towards like the future of currency eventually.
Cool. Thanks a lot for sharing. It's really inspirational that you do so many things. I want to read out some of the questions from the chat. So there was a statement, but maybe we can turn it into a question. Somebody from the audience, Jeremiah, said, like, we look at the industry a bit with a focus on DeFi, as a new trading and investing vehicle. But there are other use cases like Axie and gaming entering the space.
Yeah.
What has been your, perspective observing all these new entrants?
Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. I actually know the Axie guys. It's funny that you mentioned them because they are in Vietnam,
Yes.
as you know, and they were the ones who sponsored my Bitcoin event with Roger Ver, who's the Bitcoin.com OG I was talking about in Saigon. So I've seen their like small kind of starting point, and they are amazing. And bringing NFT, because NFT has been around for a long time. I don't know if you guys know this, like you probably know this, Ship, but before it was like lots of people doing it and in the mainstream media and the ecosystem, it's been around for such a long time, and bringing this kind of aspect of the crypto industry mainstream is really interesting for us. I know that it's like interesting that it's put so much of the spotlight on crypto, just to go off on a tangent, but we'll go back to that. So let me read the message. So yes, okay, I was the same as you. So when I entered bitcoin.com, I didn't even think about investing or trading. I didn't even trade. I didn't even know anything about exchanges. I didn't know about the user types, nothing. It was all about peer-to-peer electronic cash. And as this is another deck, I guess, this is another conversation, but we are a whole ecosystem. So we've got the ecosystem of products, but we're also an ecosystem of use cases. So Axie is a DeFi NFT use case. So I guess you could call it GameFi. Is that what they're calling it these days? So that's just one part of the ecosystem. Then you've got investing in trading, which, like you said, is the vehicle. It's the thing that keeps us floating. So I would just say approach it like the blockchain space is an ecosystem that you can tap into any part of it.
Yeah, it's an entire economy. Just
Yeah.
like any economy has different sub-industries, like the car
Exactly.
industry, then the fashion industry, education industry. With another question from Tanya, and she would love to know how to position ETH, ADA, Sol, other ecosystems compared to Bitcoin.
Interesting. So it can become a bit subjective and you've got to kind of be careful how you do it. But Bitcoin, the narrative of Bitcoin is always it's a store of value. And that's how it's been for quite a long time. But Bitcoin's the OG, right? We wouldn't have all the other cryptos without Bitcoin and the Bitcoin blockchain. And was it how you could kind of position them?
Exactly. What's their value add? What is Bitcoin's value add?
Okay.
What is the future outlook? What do you think in terms of, also market capitalization, volume, since you come from the exchange place?
I understand. So from my personal experience, they all have value in their own way. So it all depends on what they're doing for the ecosystem. So Ethereum, for example, Ethereum's in line with Bitcoin. It's the same. In fact, I think, in my own personal opinion, Ethereum has got way more use cases than Bitcoin at the moment. You can build on Ethereum. You can interact with the DeFi space with Ethereum. And it's actually got more of a growth rate than Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin's super high, but Ethereum's not too high at the moment. So if you're an investor, that's something to think about. And it's just more of a fun crypto to kind of play around with. Sol, for example, it's pretty new. But if you have a look at what they're doing, so they're building a full ecosystem around their own token. And it all really depends on what the project's doing and what you believe in. So I wouldn't say that one is like superior to another. I'd just say that it all depends on what you're interested in and what you're trying to achieve.
Great. Thanks for sharing. What's your favorite product on altcoin ecosystems right now?
Interesting. I don't dabble enough in DeFi at the moment because, as you'll know, it takes up a lot of time. I just don't have time. I used to be like heavy on what's it called? Polkadot. When dot was like super low, and then I staked Polkadot on Kraken of all places, and I was like, oh wow, I've like quadrupled what I had. These kind of things, but I just don't have time. I like diversify in terms of like my own investment. I diversify my own portfolio and it's like very mathematical, strategic, and like I don't really tend to dip into DeFi anymore. I did it first, like I was on Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap, but then because I'm a UX girl, I can't deal with it because the UX is terrible on Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap, and Uniswap, and it's just, for me, it's not, I can't deal with it. It's a headache. So I prefer to just stay in the normal exchange space when I come to investing. But that's a good question.
We have another question from Chao Yang Long. Are there any major development happening around exchangeability between crypto and other non-cash tokens like air miles, loyalty points, etc.? What's happening in the market?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been trying to get this into the market for a few years now. So there's lots of deals. There's a company called Traveler, actually they're based in Hanoi. When I was at liquid.com, we were doing like a partnership with them. Obviously then COVID hit. But they help you to, like, for example, you can book via, you can book with crypto. So like by using like an exchange token, for example, or whatever token you want to use to buy your travel tickets. And then by doing that, then you can get loyalty points on Traveler, etc., etc. So it's kind of like the industry haven't fully done it yet, like fully integrated like into air miles or loyalty miles, but they're all trying to do it right now. So for example, you'll see that crypto.com, I think they've got a partnership with booking.com. So you can book directly through crypto.com, that kind of thing. So they're all kind of integrating, but it hasn't fully gone to, you can buy your air miles with crypto, or you can generate air miles through DeFi, for example. But yeah, they're slowly getting there, and it's mostly the exchanges who are leading it, like the big players in the space.
Yeah, our last week's speaker, Ify, was sharing her perspective on how probably mainstream adoption will enter via the payments through these integration of big players. We have another question also asking about the concept of mainstream Bitcoin. Could you elaborate on what you mean by that and where you basically see it already coming to life, or where would we expect it to come into life?
Yeah, so what I mean by mainstream is it's in the awareness space. So people are aware of it, and a lot more people are open to purchasing Bitcoin or looking into the space a bit more. When I first entered crypto, and probably similar to you, Yip, it was nearly 7 years ago, people were like, it's a scam. No way, I can't believe you're, like, even my mom, she's like, just be careful, like you're working with bitcoin.com, you know, I've heard it's a scam. And I knew deep to my core that it's knew what it always was. And when it comes to mainstream, I don't believe we'll ever have mainstream adoption of Bitcoin per se, but it'll be some other version of Bitcoin in terms of like a more transactionable token. But yeah, by mainstream, I mean it's in the awareness level.
Okay. Final question before we go into the breakout rooms. What major trends are you seeing looking at the market?
In terms of which space?
In terms of what to be aware of as a user, maybe, like where will we see a few different innovations happening, and then how should we look?
So from an exchange perspective, so if we're looking at a beginner and a crypto curious person, the user experience is improving. So it's been rubbish for a long time, and slowly the product teams are understanding the user way more, they're personalizing way more, and they're going to help you to make the right decisions way better. So like, for example, when I first joined the space, I used Kraken. And Kraken was so difficult to use back then, but you had no other option really. There was Coinbase or Kraken, and Coinbase didn't work with my UK account at the time. So you had to just use it. There was no articles to help me use it. There was no academy. So now products in general are working to give you everything you need to take an action on their product. So it's just going to be way easier moving forward.
Okay. Thanks a lot. So what we'll do now is go into little breakout rooms of 3 to 5 people, and you're welcome to just introduce yourself, learn more about what you're doing, what drives you to this interest space, and any kind of projects you guys are working on. Then we come together for a final closing, and I'll ask Em when she comes back to give us a 90-second key takeaway wrap up of what audience should take away from today's session, if that's fine.
Brilliant.
Okay, let me just create the breakout rooms, and then you'll be automatically assigned to it. Hey guys, we give another 5 seconds for the others to come back.
Oh, we're back.
We're back, and it's time for your wrap up key takeaways for our session today.
Fabulous.
That the audience to take with them.
It was really lovely. I'm glad that everybody seems to enjoy it. Yeah, so basically, just to summarize, for those who kind of made it late as well, we were focused on the brand narratives of the space and what is most important to the users in the space. And we helped to define each user type and understand each user type. So that's number one most important thing for us as the participants in the space, is understanding who everybody is. We focused on the products in the space and how the users interact and what type of users interact. And then that helped us to understand how the brand narratives are so important and what the common brand narrative is, and that is safety, security, and reliability. And then how the brands and the products help to cement that into the user types experience. Does that make sense? I can be a bit technical sometimes.
Thank you so much. It was really, really great that you shared your knowledge and your wisdom and your beautiful energy with us. And
thank you. I'll share my Telegram here if anyone wants to add me and have a chat.
Okay, that's amazing. And we look forward to receiving your picture of the landscape. Cool.
Yes.
Everyone else, we will have crypto coaching session tomorrow where we discuss the assignments of week 2 of Unit Masters. On Thursday, we have Professor Philip Sandner to share a bird's perspective from a institutional or also just more from a strategic view of the ecosystem. He works at Frankfurt School, or he actually founded the Frankfurt School Blockchain Center in Germany. And then also we have World Unit Forum happening at the moment. It's 4 team members of Unit, but since you are all participants in our Unit product, you're also very welcome to join and get behind the scenes insights. We'll share the links in the Telegram group. And also for those who had problems logging in, we'll look into figuring out how to make it a more smooth process for the next time. Thanks for bringing it to our awareness. Have a good one, everyone, and see you again soon. Don't forget to fill the survey also, so that those who didn't, I will copy it in here, those who didn't attend the session also get a chance to read our takeaways, and then maybe they decide to watch the session. Bye guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.